The Zionsville Lions Park is a 23-acre recreational park that runs adjacent to Eagle Creek. It features many softball and baseball diamonds, volleyball courts, playgrounds, trails, and much more. This park is the community's crown jewel, and the Lions have decided they'd like to begin implementing more sustainable elements into it and put more focus towards improving the environment while continuing the process of educating the park users of the importance of it all. After much discussion with the Lions Committee, we came up with 3 goals we'd like to put our focus towards to improve this park. Those being to reduce the ecological footprint, minimize the erosion and flooding that's occurring due to the park being adjacent to Eagle Creek, and finally create or enhance the current connections within the park. To begin, it was vital that research was done to better understand this park and determine what can be done when the entire site is located within a floodplain. I began by evaluating the stormwater that flows across the site and determining where it usually pools the most. From there, I was able to determine where the sustainable elements that we would like to implement would be best suited. This was also just as much an opportunity to see if the current butterfly garden and erosion control methods that exist in the park currently are in an effective spot or if they would have better results if moved to a different area. Up until a month ago, our main focus was implementing sustainable elements throughout the existing fields and courts throughout the park. However, we got word that the Lions had officially acquired a 5-acre piece of land just north of the existing property line. With that completely open natural space, it was decided to switch gears and put our focus towards coming up with a new design for this new space so that the park users can use it. After many meetings, it was determined that they would like to implement a sort of botanical garden into this new space. This would allow them to keep that environmentally sustainable element that they would like to focus on from the very beginning. I took my time sketching out ideas of different levels to understand how grand of a garden they'd like. Sketchy designs were created to show a grand, intermediate, and simple design, along with pros and cons to each. Noting that the Lions Committee maintained the park, this would need to be a reasonable design that doesn't tack on too much work for them and that would make it unable for them to handle. Also noting that their funds for the park come strictly from donations from the community, so with that in mind, a design between intermediate and simple was decided on. The illustrative plan that was decided on is heavily trail focused, winding their way through much of the existing trees that we were deciding to be saved. It was also extremely important to them that we express the urgency to remove the invasives in the site and replace them with lots of native planting. This will not only be beneficial to the environment, but it will also create lots of visual interest. Patios and small pavilions have been provided to create suitable spaces for relaxing, resting, meeting with friends, and more. There are also a number of more natural features being implemented, such as a natural playscape for children and lawn berms for all ages. Finally, a riparian buffer along the Eagle Creek and rain gardens throughout the rest of the site were proposed to reduce the erosion on site as well as the ecological footprint of the park as our original goals mentioned. To go a bit more into the riparian buffer, seeing as it is one of the most important focuses of the site, this buffer will be beneficial in reducing erosion along the creek bed, reducing flooding, and in filtering out a lot of the runoff that would otherwise be going straight into the creek. The buffer incorporates a large number of differing sized plants that have varying root systems. As they mature, their roots can wind together and strengthen the soil, reducing erosion, while creating a large buffer, making it a bit more difficult for water and pollutants to get through on the surface. This is a very important element and would greatly benefit from signage being placed along the river to educate the park users on its importance and how they can even help. Being that the Lions Committee is responsible for collecting donations to build this design, as well as being responsible for maintaining it along with the existing park, it was decided that it would benefit them the most to separate it out into phases. The first phase would be implementing the trails throughout the existing trees. Providing benches and lighting to ensure safety would be necessary, of course, as well. This would allow the park users to get to come up and explore the space a bit while not putting too much pressure on the committee as they learn to add the responsibilities of maintaining this new site into their current schedules. The next phase would incorporate planting the proposed trees and the natural scapes. This one, again, will attract more users into the park while still providing an easy transition for the Lions Committee to take on when they're ready. Finally, the third phase, once again when they're ready, would be planting all of the flood tolerant shrubs, building the small structures on site, and finishing with filling the park with the remaining site furnishings such as tree grates, bike racks, tables and chairs, etc. This new design is very unique to the site and incorporates many things that are just as unique to the whole community. Hopefully, with enough time, the plants will all be able to mature and be strong enough to withstand the minor floodings that occasionally occur. Then we will have created a beautiful new space that focuses heavily on being more environmentally focused as desired. Thank you.